because he knows it doesn't save any money, it's going to cost millions. This is the first Prime Minister in history to propose a bill to save money who ended up with a bill which costs money.
You're not going to believe what just unfolded inside the walls of Westminster today. The atmosphere in Parliament was already electric, full of tension and political sharpness, when something unexpected happened that silenced the room. It began as a seemingly ordinary session, another exchange of words between rival benches. But what followed had MPs leaning forward in disbelief and journalists scrambling for their notebooks. Because when Kemi Badenoch stood up and quoted something said by Katie Hopkins, everything changed. Keir Starmer's response wasn't calm, it wasn't diplomatic, it was pure anger. You could see it from his eyes, the tilt of his head, the tightening of his jaw. It was one of those moments that television cameras live for, when the polished facade of politics cracks and the real human underneath slips through. From mild irritation to raw fury, it all played out live, and within minutes, it was all over social media. Let's unpack why this moment hit so hard. At face value, it was just a comment, but the deeper story reveals something explosive about image, control, and the brittle line between confidence and provocation in modern British politics. It all started earlier in the week. During a particularly heated debate, Badenoch, known for her directness and refusal to sugarcoat her points, went after Labour MPs with unsparing precision. She referenced a remark made days earlier by Katie Hopkins, one that had already spread across social platforms. The moment the words left her lips, the chamber froze. The temperature in the room shifted instantly. You could practically feel the tension rise like static. Starmer's reaction was visible even before he spoke. He straightened up, adjusted his papers, and leaned forward like a man about to strike back. When he did, the tone was unmistakable. Fury, frustration, and defiance all mixed together. He accused Badenoch of disgracing Parliament, of bringing a gutter-level tone into the chamber. His voice grew sharper, louder, echoing across the benches. But Badenoch wasn't backing down. With her calm, confident poise, she fired back, "Perhaps you should look at your own record before judging others." She accused Starmer of sheer hypocrisy, willing to quote divisive figures when it benefits him, yet outraged when someone else does the same. That was the breaking point. Laughter, gasps, shouts, the entire chamber erupted. The speaker desperately tried to restore order, but by then, the political spectacle was complete. Cameras caught every expression, every smirk, every flash of rage. It was parliamentary drama at its finest and worst. Now, what exactly did Katie Hopkins say that caused such uproar? Hopkins had questioned Starmer's integrity, suggesting that he acts one way in Parliament and another behind closed doors. It wasn't particularly shocking in content. What made it so scandalous was where Badenoch repeated it. Inside the House of Commons, on record, where every word becomes part of British political history. That move was calculated. Badenoch isn't impulsive, she's strategic. By saying it there, she ensured it couldn't be ignored. The reaction was immediate. Within hours, clips flooded X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Commentators went wild. One user posted, "Kemi said what everyone's been thinking for months, and Starmer couldn't handle it." Another wrote, "This isn't talk radio. Parliament deserves better." Even respected journalists got caught in the swirl. Sky's political editor called it the most explosive Commons exchange in recent memory, while The Guardian described it as a deliberate provocation aimed straight at Labour's core message of composure and control. Beyond Westminster, the public split sharply. Some hailed her courage, praising her for breaking through politics as usual and speaking with real emotion. Her supporters flooded social media with clips labeled authentic and refreshing. Others accused her of theatrics, saying she played into culture wars and undermined democratic decorum for personal gain. But in the noisy world of modern politics, outrage often equals power. And power is exactly what this was about. Every time someone rattles Keir Starmer publicly, it chips away at his reputation as the calm, steady hand guiding Labour toward government. His discipline has always been his greatest asset, but moments of visible anger expose his human cracks, and that's what Badenoch exploited perfectly. Behind the scenes, Labour aides were said to be furious. According to one Westminster insider quoted later that evening, Starmer was visibly agitated back in his private office, frustrated that the clip was dominating headlines instead of Labour's latest economic policy. Meanwhile, Conservative MPs couldn't hide their delight. One senior Tory was overheard calling it Kemi's knockout moment. But it didn't stop there. Commentators began comparing this flash of temper with similar exchanges from months past, including Starmer's fiery clash with Lee Anderson during an immigration debate. Each incident, though brief, suggests a pattern. A leader who prides himself on control, but occasionally loses it when blindsided. That tension between composure and emotion defines modern leadership. Voters want strength and empathy, but they also crave authenticity, and that's the paradox Starmer faces. Meanwhile, Badenoch's star continues to rise. Young voters see in her something that traditional Westminster figures often lack: conviction. Whether you like her politics or not, it's hard to deny that she commands attention. With timing, precision, and nerve, she turned a passing commentary into a viral spectacle. By evening, #Badenoch versus Starmer was trending nationwide. TV panels debated it, newspapers ran multiple front pages, and even commentators from outside the UK chimed in, calling it the moment British politics remembered how to shock. So what happens now? Labour might try to reframe it, accusing Badenoch of importing toxic rhetoric into Parliament. The Conservatives, on the other hand, will likely capitalize on the media frenzy, painting Badenoch as bold and fearless. Either way, one thing is clear: Westminster's political theater hasn't burned this bright in months. And as with all great dramas, what matters most isn't who shouted louder, but who dominated the narrative afterward. Right now, that person is Kemi Badenoch. Keir Starmer may have tried to reclaim control, but the headlines, the hashtags, and the public attention belong to her. Because in 21st century politics, performance matters as much as policy. Badenoch made the leader of the opposition lose composure on camera, and that's something no speechwriter or PR strategist can undo. Sometimes it's not the speeches that define a leader's legacy. It's the moments they weren't prepared for. This was one of those rare, unfiltered moments. If you enjoyed this detailed breakdown, make sure to subscribe to Alert View, where we unpack British politics with clarity, depth, and no spin. Now, over to you. Do you think Badenoch went too far, or did she simply expose a side of Starmer the public needed to see? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.